What's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to the #1 comfort food in every state. Now we're looking at, I'm going to say, the country of comfort food. That sounds quite bad, but I mean it in the nicest possible way. Like the US, I feel like the US loves their comfort food. I mean, you're going to go to the south, you're going to get biscuits and gravy. You're going to go more north, I guess pizza is probably a comfort food for a lot of people. But yeah, I mean comfort food is something that everyone loves. And that's why comfort foods are usually spread around the world. Again, pizzas, I would say, are a comfort food, even though it's more like a dinner meal. But you can have it for lunch. You can have it whenever. I mean, who cares? Really, realistically, you can have cold pizza for breakfast. But yeah, we're gonna check out the #1 comfort food in each state. I mean, I don't know how correct this will be, but I like doing these food reactions anyway, and I'm actually hungry right now, so this is the best time to do these reactions. But yeah, we're gonna check this out. Hopefully, going to enjoy. Links are also in the description to my Patreon.
Get ready for
where I can't post reactions that I post there to YouTube, and yeah, if you want to see that, links are there. But let's check this out and see this video.
Get ready for a mouth-watering journey, from crispy fried green tomatoes to silky slippery dumplings and the underdog
Don't know about those tomatoes, but
food favorite. Indulge in the #1 comfort foods across states, north and south. Made from thick, chunky slices of fresh green tomato that have been dipped in egg and flour or cornmeal and then fried to golden perfection, fried green tomatoes are the epitome of classic Southern.
I'm not a fan of tomatoes in general, so I don't know about this, but I've never tried it, so maybe I would like it.
Cooking.
I don't know.
The dish started as a way to use up unripe tomatoes before they could spoil, and has grown into a staple of Alabama home cooking. Tangy and savory with a satisfying crunch in every bite, these Montgomery faves only get better when dipped in a bit of remoulade or spicy mayonnaise. Throughout Alaska, king crab legs are a favorite regardless of whether they've been boiled, grilled, steamed, or baked. Tender, sweet, and succulent on their own, and only better when dipped in a vat of butter, the king crab has come to serve as a symbol of Alaska's resilience. Harvested in the cold waters of the Bering Sea, this prized delicacy is especially treasured by locals who get to enjoy it at its freshest. Chimichangas are made from grilled tortillas that have been filled with ingredients ranging from shredded chicken.
Oh, this looks good.
To beef to pork, and are then rolled up like a burrito and deep fried until golden brown. An Arizona favorite, they provide everything you could want in a classic comfort food. Satisfying crunch, hot savory filling, and mouth-watering toppings like sour cream, hot sauce, and guacamole. It's enough to make even the saltiest superhero fall in love.
Time to make the chimichangas.
Chicken and dumplings are typically made from a biscuit-like mixture of
okay, here we go.
Flour, baking powder, salt, and milk. The dumpling, which is then dropped into a pot with hot broth and chicken and cooked until doughy, like a noodle. Once a staple for lower-income families, the dish has become a favorite throughout the state of Arkansas, including some of Little Rock's most high-end restaurants.
This kind of looks like a soup that my girlfriend's mum makes. It's with dumplings, with chicken. It's only really with carrots. It's not like... It's quite a watery soup. But it does have dumplings, chicken, and like carrots. And I think that's about it. She makes other soups as well, but that soup, and I think like parsnips? Are parsnips and turnips the same thing? They're not. I think parsnips. I love the soup. It's not the same as this one. This one's not really a soup. It's more... It gets soaked in it, but then it gets served mostly as just a food with a little bit of liquid. It looks good though.
Think of California cuisine? Fish tacos likely come to mind.
Never tried a fish taco. I like fish, I love tacos, but I've never thought to try it.
And for good reason. They were created by street vendors working along the coast who wanted a delicious, portable way to sell their catch of the day. The battered and fried chunks of cod, halibut, or tilapia served in a warm tortilla and topped with greens, tomato, onion, and lime juice epitomize everything fresh and sunny and ocean-packed that there is to love about the Golden State.
They're so good. I mean, look at this beautiful taco.
In and around the Rockies, people from Colorado are often called greenies due to the state's distinctive green license plates. But there's another reason to call Colorado locals greenies as well: their love of chili verde, or green chili. A popular dish first dreamt up by Spanish settlers, green chili is a slow-cooked mixture of pork or chicken plus green chiles, potatoes, beans, or tomatoes. It's a hearty, spicy, and slightly sweet stew that's perfect for the state's outdoor active lifestyle.
I mean, Thai green curry is a very popular thing in the UK. So this is, I guess, it's not the same, but I assume it's got somewhat of a similar taste. Probably not, but it's a green pepper, so...
...and brisk, unpredictable weather. The beloved hamburger already holds a place in the Comfort Food Hall of Fame, but in Connecticut, they've swapped out that frying for some perfectly placed steam to create their iconic steamed cheeseburger. Invented a half-century ago in the small town of Meriden, steamed cheeseburgers take everything you already love about regular burgers and make them better. They're
steamed cheeseburgers, I don't know why you'd steam it. I mean, it's probably a bit healthier, but...
juicier, the cheese is meltier, and the bun is even more moist and delicious. Yum.
Gotta try it.
Delaware's slippery dumplings are a wildly popular regional variation on the beloved staple chicken and noodles. In this case, the dish originated with the Pennsylvania Dutch, who also settled parts of Delaware. Slippery dumplings are a lot like traditional noodles, but also chewier and more satisfying, thanks to their jumbo size. Because of their thickness, slippery noodles also tend to soak up all the flavors of the chicken broth they're cooked in, creating a delicious combo of savory and slightly sweet flavors in every bite.
I bet it's good,
Believed by many to have been created in the Florida Keys in the mid-1890s by a woman known only as Aunt Sally, key lime pie is a classic comfort food dessert loved for its unique mixture of tangy, creamy, and sweet flavors. The pie typically consists of a graham cracker crust that is filled with a mixture of sweetened condensed milk, key lime juice, and egg yolks, and then baked until set. It's then topped with lush whipped cream or frothy meringue, making it the perfect relaxing comfort food. Not to be outdone by its neighbor to the south, Georgia too chooses pie as its favorite comfort food of choice. Only in this case, it's a pie that pairs perfectly with the state's official moniker of the peach state. It's peach pie.
Slice of peach. Best in Georgia.
Made with fresh, juicy peaches that are baked between 2 layers of flaky golden crust, peach pies have become a staple of Georgia cuisine, as the dessert is the go-to option for countless family gatherings and picnics. A staple in Hawaiian culture for centuries, poke bowls exploded.
I love poke bowls. I mean, I didn't know it would be like a Hawaiian thing, but I do love these. These are just really good, man. You can't really go wrong, can you, to be honest?
Popularity across the mainland in the last few years. But if you want good, authentic poke, you have to go back to where the dish first started. A typical poke bowl consists of diced raw fish, soy sauce, sesame oil, onions, and seaweed served.
Wait, does it originate from here? From Hawaii? I wouldn't have guessed that at all.
Over white rice. And you don't have to go fancy to get good poke. Some of the island's best comes from casual on-the-go settings, like gas stations and convenience stores. Idaho may be known as the potato state, but when it comes to comfort foods, its residents choose beef all the way. A half-century or so back, a chef in Boise started serving up finger-sized strips of breaded, battered, deep-fried top brown steak, and a regional favorite was born. Finger steaks have been popular throughout the state ever since. Typically served with a side of cocktail sauce, these crispy, tender shards of beef are salty and savory on the outside and moist and juicy inside.
I bet this is absolutely sensational. This is one of those ones that I've never tried. Like, I've never even thought about. But strips of steak, battered. That sounds like it would be incredible. Jeez, man, why is that not even really an option? It seems like such an easy thing to create. I don't know. I've never seen that before.
Perfect for a quick snack or a full-on meal.
Finger steaks? You have some strange foods in Iowa.
Ever heard the term pizza pie? If so, then you might have been talking to someone from Illinois, where the Chicago-style pizza reigns supreme. The ultimate deep dish treat, Chicago-style pizzas were created as an alternative to trendy, thin crust pizzas of the 1940s. They typically consist of a thick, buttery crust, tomato sauce, cheese, and toppings, plus a selection of meats and vegetables served in thick swaths, almost like a savory Italian layer cake. Delish. But is it really pizza?
This is not pizza! This is tomato soup in a bread bowl!
The European nation of Austria and the state of Indiana may not appear to have much in common at first glance, but they have one big thing in common. The populations of both love tenderloin. In Austria, it's the Wiener Schnitzel, and the comfort food of choice in Indiana is the pork tenderloin sandwich, a slab of luscious pork tenderloin thinly pounded, breaded, and served on a billowy bun. Talk about comfort. It doesn't matter how you prepare these golden ears.
Come on, you can't have sweet corn as the comfort food, because surely sweet corn will be a side to another food. Sweet corn on its own, I love sweet corn. Corn on the cob, whatever, I love it. But I'm not having it on its own, I'm having it as a side. If you're having that as the main thing, I feel bad for Iowa, but maybe that's the thing, I don't really know.
Folks in Iowa can't get enough of the ever-popular summer staple, sweet corn. The comfort food of choice in the Hawkeye State, Iowa is the largest producer of corn in the nation and the home to some of the most incredible, fresh, sweet corn you may ever get a chance to gnaw off the cob.
Okay.
Shuck it from that leafy green husk, cook until tender, douse it in butter, and let your taste buds soar.
It is, mate. as a side, again, it's so good. It's refreshing. It's so nice, though. It's one of the best things. One of the best side dishes you can have, I feel like.
It's hard to imagine, but there was once a time when barbecue
Burnt
pitmasters cut off the ends of the brisket and threw them away, thinking no one would want them because they were burnt. They eventually caught on to the error of their ways, and burnt ends, the rich, smoky, and crisp yet juicy tips of
This looks so good. Oh my days, man.
barbecued brisket, have become the star of the show ever since. In Kansas City, in particular, home to great barbecue, burnt ends are the comfort food of choice for many. Kentucky's hot brown sandwich is a late-night snack turned comfort food classic. Created by Fred K. Schmidt, a chef at Louisville's Brown Hotel in the 1920s, the dish was originally intended to feed out-of-town guests and locals who had danced in the hotel's ballroom until the wee hours. Schmidt dreamt up an open-faced sandwich of turkey, bacon, and cheesy Mornay sauce, which he then baked and served hot. The sandwich was an immediate hit and has been quenching cravings ever since.
Okay.
No dish says Louisiana more than jambalaya, a centuries-old pairing of Spanish paella plus French and African culinary traditions and cooking techniques. Jambalaya usually includes a selection of meat, vegetables, and spices, all simmered together with rice in a tomato-based broth. It's a savory and slightly sweet entree with a subtle kick of heat that Louisianans can't help but crave. Prior to the 1800s, lobster was considered a poor man's food and in such low demand that farmers used lobster meat to fertilize their fields. Today, though, lobster is a high-end entree.
They use lobster meat to fertilize their fields. What the hell? How is that even possible?
And something nobody loves more than the folks living in Maine. As the largest lobster-producing state in the nation, maniacs know a thing or two about preparing in-demand seafood, and they can't get enough of the lobster roll, chunks of fresh lobster mixed with mayo and served atop a buttery toasted bun. It's a comfort food classic. Like the lobster roll, crab cakes are another dish inspired by a regional abundance of seafood. In this case, Maryland and the state's incredible blue crabs. A classic Maryland crab cake usually includes fresh lump crab meat, mayonnaise, breadcrumbs, Old Bay seasoning, mustard, and Worcestershire sauce. These
Gotta love a bit of Old Bay seasoning. I know I mention it every time, but I remember being sent that and I've still got it. I think it's still good. I use it just to season. It's like when I season my chicken and stuff, I just mix loads of seasonings. It's always just one of the seasonings that I use. It's good though. I went through a phase because I can realize you can now buy it in the UK shops. It's not common, but I found it one time. I was like, oh damn. So it's now just possible to use it, but it's just a nice flavor. You mix it with the other stuff and it's really good.
ingredients are mixed together and shaped into patties that are then fried or broiled until crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. It's a dish so popular that locals have been scarfing it down for nearly a century. Another East Coast state, another perfect
Clam chowder.
seafood-inspired comfort dish. This time, it's clam chowder, the comfort food of choice throughout the state of Massachusetts.
I have no idea what this would taste like. I've got no reference point to what to expect from this food. I've never ever had chowder before, so clam chowder. I've never had clams before, so I just don't know what it would be.
This simple yet hearty soup, which combines chopped clams, potatoes, onions, bacon, and either milk or cream, has been uber popular throughout the Bay State since at least the 18th century. In fact, America's oldest restaurant, the Union Oyster House in Boston, has been serving the soup consistently on its menu since the place first opened up way back in 1826. How does a Coney Island-inspired hot dog end up the comfort food of choice in Michigan? Think Greek immigrants who were inspired by the hot dogs they ate in Brooklyn and took that idea west to their new homes. Numerous Coney Island-style restaurants popped up throughout Detroit in the early 1900s, and some are still in operation today. The star of their menu? The classic Coney, a beef hot dog topped with all-meat chili, yellow mustard, and diced onions, and served in a warm, steamed bun. What could be better than a classic all-beef cheeseburger?
Oh,
Well,
Juicy Lucy. I remember the Juicy Lucy, man. This is... I mean, I could try to make this at home, to be fair. You just put the cheese in the burger, right? But, yeah, Juicy Lucy, I've heard of you.
if you're from Minnesota, your answer has got to be the Juicy Lucy. A beloved Minnesota delicacy, the Juicy Lucy is a rich, savory beef burger stuffed with cheese. And as that burger cooks, that cheese melts into a molten core of golden gooey goodness, just waiting for you to bite into. Out-of-towners may add onions, pickles, or bacon, but locals keep it simple and let their Lucy shine. As legend has it, Mississippi's po' boy got its start when a pair of former streetcar conductors turned restaurateurs and opened a popular eatery. To give back to the community, they handed out free sandwiches to folks who were down on their luck. The sandwiches varied considerably. Some had roast beef, some contained chicken fingers, and some packed fried seafood. But they all had one thing in common. They were served on a French-style baguette they called po' boy bread. The name stuck, and Mississippians are still clamoring for the sandwich even now.
Wow.
The story of toasted ravioli is a simple one. A tired Missouri chef was rushing to finish an order he was working on when he accidentally dropped a few large ravioli in hot oil instead of boiling water. The restaurant's owner tried to salvage them with some Parmesan, and everyone loved them. Soon, these toasted ravioli were popping up throughout St. Louis, before spreading across the Show Me State to the rest of the country.
I guess the only thing I did was get some toasted ravioli. I grew up on that, so anytime I come back here, I always got to eat it.
A classic Native American dish that's been popular in Montana for generations, fry bread tacos take everything there is to love about Mexican food and
Fry bread tacos. Ooh, that's a nice. I've never really had like tacos open. I mean, a taco is open, right? But like open like this, it's usually at least you can hold it like that. I don't really know how you'd eat this, to be honest.
elevate it with the warm, yeasty, crisp bite you can only get from fresh baked bread. Starting with fried bread, you then top it with spicy seasoned ground beef, tomatoes, cheese, salsa, and sour cream. No wonder the fry bread taco is such a favored comfort staple. If you haven't spent a lot of time in Nebraska, then the Runza sandwich may be a mystery. But for any true Cornhusker, there's no debating the incredible appeal of the Runza. Believed to have been brought to the state in the late 1800s by German and Russian immigrants, a typical Runza consists of savory pastry dough that's stuffed with ground beef, onions, and cabbage, and then baked to a crispy golden brown.
I bet this is one of the most satisfying foods you can eat. Again, I'm starving right now, so this is hitting different, man. This sort of food would be perfect. I've got flipping chicken and rice. It's good food. I want something like this, so flipping hell.
The regional delicacy is so popular that it's even inspired a fast food chain which operates almost exclusively within the state. Maybe it's Nevada's link to all those famous 19th century cattle drives.
Prime rib.
Maybe it's because Las Vegas was home to the country's first ever all-you-can-eat buffet, where prime rib was the main attraction. Maybe it's the famous roaming prime rib cart at Laurie's The Prime Rib in Las Vegas, which carves and serves up slice after slice of succulent prime rib tableside. Whatever the reason, when it comes to comfort food in Nevada, nothing gets more love than tender, juicy prime rib. Comfort foods often blossom in regions where ingredients are in the greatest supply. So what do locals in New Hampshire, one of the nation's leaders in the production of maple syrup, flock to when looking for a taste of home? Maple syrup, of course. And what goes better with the kick of maple than a mountain of pillowy, soft, warm, buttery pancakes? And they're not just for breakfast. Throw some bacon or sausage on the plate to sop up that syrup, and you've got a
See, this would be good, but ketchup and maple syrup together? Oh. Remove the ketchup and I'm loving this. I just don't know how the mixture of ketchup and maple syrup is going to go in my stomach.
classic comfort meal for any hour. Depending on where you grew up in Jersey, you may call the state's official sandwich a pork roll, or you might call it a Taylor ham. But however you order it, the ingredients are the same. Slices of processed, smoked pork roll ham that's pan-fried until crispy and then topped with egg and cheese and then placed between two slices of a Kaiser roll or sliced bagel. It's simple, it's affordable, it's versatile, it works for every meal. And for folks living in the Garden State, nothing tastes more like home.
When I go to the store, I say pork roll, egg, and cheese.
One of the most popular of all comfort foods in New Mexico
Meatball soup, okay.
is what's known as albondigas, or Mexican meatball soup. Imagine a sea of homemade beef and pork meatballs swimming in a zesty tomato broth with some added chunks of carrots, potato, and zucchini. And you have a pretty good idea just why this dish is so widely loved across the state. Talk about comfort. Buffalo wings were created in Buffalo, New
That soup looked nice.
York at the Anchor Bar, which is still in operation today. These crispy fried wings are doused in a tangy, spicy sauce and served
To be
up
fair,
with
you can get buffalo wings everywhere. Like, there are always options in the UK. Like, I've had them many times. They are quality. Chicken wings are always good. But yeah, buffalo style wings, yeah, they're quality.
the side of blue cheese dressing, plus celery. They remain a favorite across the Empire State even now, nearly 60 years later, and have spread across the nation to become a favorite of sports fans everywhere.
3,000 tangy wings packed in a black contractor bag, thrown straight through your window in time for kickoff.
North Carolinians know that few culinary dishes pack more beauty
Pulled pork. See, I don't like pork that much. I like the taste. It's just, I find it very salty. But I love pulled pork. It's one of those things that I just can't not love. It's so good. Pulled anything's amazing, right? Like, just, I don't know how. I mean, I know how they do it, but I don't know who came up with all this pork, like these pulled meat options, and whose idea it was. But thank you for that, because You just make every meat so sensational. I mean, all meat's good anyway, but even meats that I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of. And I like bacon. I don't really have it because it's good. I just find it's really salty. But pulled pork for me, yeah, it's incredible.
Than a giant piece of pork shoulder slow cooking over fiery coals. The
Oh,
hours-long
man, I want
process
this.
infuses the meat with rich, smoky flavor while also breaking it down until it's
And pork ribs I love. Any ribs I love, to be honest. I just love ribs, to be honest. I just can't go wrong with any ribs, but anyway.
melt in your mouth tender. When it's done, pull it apart to serve it. And you've got a Carolina pulled pork. The only thing left to debate is whether you top it with the vinegar-based sauce popular in the eastern part of the state or the tomato-based sauce popular in the west. Choices, choices, choices. Leave it to the folks in North Dakota, one of the nation's leading producers of potatoes, to figure out the ideal way to make an already craveable potato even more delicious. All you have to do is dip your chips in chocolate, of course. It may sound
Okay.
odd, but the unique marriage of salty and sweet is an ideal union. And this is one treat you don't have to live in North Dakota to experience. Just melt some chocolate and add a chip. It's that simple.
I've got to try that. I love pretzels covered in chocolate. Like salted pretzels in chocolate. I love that. That's one of my favourite snacks. So this is probably quite similar to that. You can make this at home. I've got to try that one.
Buckeye is a classic Ohio comfort
Buckeyes. I remember getting sent these. They're good. I mean, I love peanut butter and chocolate, but they're very good.
food that you have to try at least once in your life. This candy confection consists of a ball of peanut butter and sugar dough that's been dipped in chocolate and then chilled until firm. The name for the candy comes from the state's official tree, which produces a similar looking nut that is mostly dark brown with a speck of lighter brown that is said to resemble the eye of a deer. Clever and pretty darn tasty. Like Indiana's breaded pork tenderloin sandwich,
Oh
Oklahoma's
my
comfort food of choice
God.
also draws inspiration from the classic Austrian dish Wiener Schnitzel. Only, in this case, the protein in question is a breaded piece of steak, and instead of eating it between two pieces of bread, the classic chicken
I've
fried
had this. I remember this. I've had this in Vienna. I mean, I had a similar version to this anyway. With veal. And that was good. First bite I didn't like, and then I actually just fell in love with it, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. But yeah, this is obviously a bit different, but I've had something similar, so I'm gonna say I've had it.
steak is typically served next to a mound of mashed potatoes and topped with a rich, savory gravy. It's the perfect down-home traditional meal for one of the states that leads the nation in beef production.
Nothing wrong with green beans and a chicken fried steak.
Named after the Pacific Coast town known as Dungeness, where it was first harvested commercially, Dungeness crab has been a staple of the Oregon culinary landscape for decades, and for good reason. As fresh seafood goes, it's among the best you can eat. Sweet, delicate, and slightly nutty flavored, the meat from the crab is tender and moist, and perfect with just a slight hit of butter or freshly squeezed lemon. In Pennsylvania, the comfort food of choice combines bits of ham, bacon, sausage, and other unwanted pork scraps, plus cornmeal and spices to make something altogether new and unique. Scrapple. Cut into slices and fried up with breakfast, or cubed and added to omelets, soup, or stew, scrapple is a meat product you have to try in order to truly appreciate.
Scrapple, I don't want to know what's in it.
What?
Eyeballs and tongues.
This is like their version of haggis. Because I'm looking at like, what the hell is going on?
Has everything imaginable in it.
Rhode Island has taken clams in a different direction with the stuffy. Made from fresh chopped clams, plus breadcrumbs, butter, onions, celery, garlic, and spices, the stuffy mixes all the ingredients together, scoops them into a shell, and bakes them until golden brown. For many who grew up in the Ocean State, stuffies epitomize summer and family trips to the beach. Exactly the memories you want from a beloved comfort meal. The comfort food that folks in South Carolina jones for the most is actually a dip, and an incredible one at that, pimento cheese. Made from a simple blend of grated sharp cheddar cheese, plus diced pimentos and mayonnaise, this spreadable comfort in a bowl is great with fresh veggies or crackers. It can also be used in sandwiches. Try it in a grilled cheese. Life-changing.
Pimento is a cheese. They call it the caviar of the South.
Whether people in South Dakota are attending a festival, a fair, or a backyard barbecue, there's always one amazing comfort food on the menu: chislik. A variation of the Persian word shishlik, chislik is a play on the classic shish kebab, brought to the region by German and Russian immigrants who settled the area in the late 1800s. The dish typically consists of bite-sized cubes of lamb, beef, or venison that are seasoned with garlic, onion, and black pepper, and then grilled or deep-fried. Everybody knows and loves classic American fried chicken, but kick that crisp, juicy treat up a notch by adding cayenne pepper, paprika, garlic powder, and black pepper, and you've got a Tennessee favorite, hot chicken. Believed to be the result of another fortuitous kitchen blunder when a chef accidentally added too much spice in her fried chicken, the dish has now become part of the cultural fabric of Nashville. Make sure to order yours with dill pickles. The cool acidity helps to cut through all that fire. Texas is the home of Tex-Mex, an incredible...
Mate, chili con carne the last few months for me has taken over my life. I never used to really eat it, and then I had it once or twice with rice. And now I've started making it in, like, I guess you can say, sort of like con carne burritos. A bit of rice, chili con carne. You got like the tortilla, fajita wraps or whatever that I end up cooking, and they obviously get crispy. Cheese, oh my god, it's so good. I've got beef today. I think I'm gonna make it today. I love this food. I had it last Monday, and we always make it so we make 8 so we can have it on the Monday and then the Tuesday. I love chili con carne. Might be my favorite food at the moment, especially chili con carne, like wraps or burritos or whatever you want to call it. It's taken over my life, man.
Fusion of traditional...
Probably not as good as this, but I still love it, you know, it still hits a spot for me.
Mexican and American cuisines. And the star of the Tex-Mex family is chili con carne. Originally derived from a traditional Mexican stew of meat and chili peppers, the dish is a hearty and easily transportable food that was a natural fit for the Lone Star State's early cowboys and settlers. Made from a mix of ground beef, chili peppers, onions, tomatoes, and spices, chili con carne is great on its own, and even more spectacular when topped with shredded cheese, sour cream, and diced onions. Don't worry, funeral potatoes aren't actually deadly. That's just the name Utah's Mormon community has given this highly comforting potato casserole classic. It's ideal for a lazy Sunday brunch, large family get-together, or any community potluck. The basic funeral potato recipe includes cubed potatoes, cream of mushroom soup, sour cream, and shredded cheddar cheese mixed together, and topped with corn flakes or breadcrumbs before baking. Creamy, savory, and perfect for sharing. Vermont is home to some of the world's top apple orchards and is a leader in the production of apple cider, so adding that crisp, refreshing juice to donuts was a natural idea. Apple cider donuts are typically made from a mixture of flour, sugar, baking powder, cinnamon, nutmeg, salt, eggs, butter, and of course, apple cider. The dough is fried and then coated with a thick layer of cinnamon and sugar. Look for homemade versions at farmers markets and roadside stands throughout the state. They're a Vermont staple.
This is good.
Long before Egg McMuffins, there was the Virginia ham biscuit, one of the first portable grab-and-go meals and a classic Old Dominion comfort food even today. First created back in the colonial era, ham biscuits were originally all about the ham. Almost all rural families raised and smoked their own meat, and putting a couple of slices of that homegrown ham in the middle of a fresh biscuit, perhaps with some added mustard, mayo, or honey, was considered an ideal way to help the meat shine. Washington State is one of the leading producers of sweet cherries in the U.S., and when you have a lot of cherries, you make cherry pie. This delicious confection has been a popular dessert and one of the state's most beloved comfort foods since settlers first arrived in the region.
See, I really like cherries, but I don't know how much I'd like cherries as like the food is cherries. I like it as like a side thing, or you have it like mixed with something else. Purely just cherries, I don't know how strong that would be. I wouldn't be against trying it because I do like cherries, but just as the main sort of thing, like peaches, I love peaches, like, and the sort of, I mean, I like peaches more than cherries, but them as the main thing. I like apple pie or whatever. I love that. Cherries, I don't know how I'd find cherries as that sort of the main thing. I mean, it's a cherry pie. I don't know how I'd find it, but I mean, if it's loved, and I mean, if I had it there, I would try it, but who knows?
And brought their cherry trees with them. A perfect mixture of sweet and tart flavors, cherry pie ticks off all the boxes for just what makes a comfort food so appealing. One of West Virginia's most beloved regional specialties, the pepperoni roll, is a bit like a rolled up slice of pizza, except it's made with a thicker, flakier bread dough. And the average pepperoni roll tends to be stuffed with way more filling. Mountains of pepperoni, shredded mozzarella, onion, peppers, and marinara sauce, all heated to perfection inside the portable bread shell. Originally created by Italian immigrants working in the state's coal mines, the humble pepperoni roll has since gone on to become the official meal of the Mountain State. Wisconsin is known for its cheese, so it's no surprise that their favorite comfort food is a cheese-based dish. Cheese curds, bite-sized chunks of leftover fresh cheese that are produced during the making of other cheeses like cheddar, Colby, or Monterey Jack, are one of the state's most popular appetizers and snacks. The shards of cheese, which squeak when you eat them raw, are batter-dipped and then deep-fried to gooey perfection. Wyoming is one of the largest states in the nation, but also the least populated. Fortunately, all that wide open space leaves plenty of room for natural wonders, including the country's largest herds of buffalo, or bison. Bison burgers use some of that abundant meat, swapping it for beef in any classic hamburger recipe. The result is a leaner, greasier, slightly sweet-tasting burger that folks in the Equality State can't get enough of, with the popularity of bison burgers exploding in recent years.
God damn, this has made me so hungry. I'm genuinely starving as well. This has made me so hungry, man. Oh man, the comfort foods of every state, you have it good. You really do have it good. The po' boy sandwich was invented by the Martin brothers, Bernie and Clovis, 1929, to feed striking streetcar drivers in New Orleans. See, yeah, I remember jolly going to New Orleans and trying that. But there we go. Let me know if you agree with this being the #1 comfort food of your state, or if you prefer another food in your state, or whatever it is. Just give me a list from your state of all the comfort foods. There we go. But hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. And I'm now going to go and eat straight after this, because usually this helps me. This is just sent me into a dimension of wanting to pig out and just eat the worst foods, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But no. Hopefully you enjoyed this reaction, and until next time, like, subscribe.